Hi guys, welcome to the Cranberry Cornstalk YouTube channel, the channel where we share our love for primitive decor. We do things like sculpting, painting, sewing, just making all kinds of things, whatever the holiday subject is and whatever we get into making. This week I finished up one sculpted doll and I'm excited to share it with you, and I'm starting on another. But I promised weeks ago that the next video I would do is dolls. And retrospectively, I should have done a release of the making of the doll, the first doll, in pieces, because I'm afraid it's going to be a little bit long. So I'll try to break it up. I'll keep it like manageable time for you guys, so you're not like sitting for an hour and getting bored in between. I'm going to try to make it exciting and entertaining for you for the first Santa doll that I made in a while. And you guys have been asking. That's the only voice I'm hearing, although the doll videos are not viewed as near as often as the other videos. So that being said, if you like the doll videos, make sure you watch them and tell everybody who likes making dolls, that type of thing, about them, so that we can get the views up, and then that'll just prompt me to make more videos that are geared toward doll making. But I am excited. This was so much fun. I've never made, let me just prerequisite with the facts that I have never made anything with clay before, except maybe in elementary school that I can't remember, some kind of clay type sculpture. But I recently just decided to try my hand at it, and it's not perfect, and I learned a lot. I thought I was going to cry many times because it just took forever. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you will see that I am not a patient person. So this was quite a challenge for me and quite an extension of my patience. But we made it through. I got one doll made. I have another one started that I'm going to share. And I've always wanted to make a primitive Santa Claus. Just always wanted to do like a Belsnickle type Santa with a sack and toys, and I just want to make every little detail. Now, I see the videos and pictures of other dolls and armatures, and I'm fascinated with the details, just clear down to the tread on the shoes. So that was what was in my head. And did you ever see those Pinterest pictures, what the picture shows and then what reality is? That's kind of what I ended up with. I have a Santa doll that is far from perfect. His one boot totally crumbled. If you watch the video, his boot, after I thought I was all done and ready to dress him, I was so excited to put clothes on him. His boot crumbled in my hands into 100 pieces. I couldn't believe it. I was just trying to fix a little spot on his boot and it just crumbled away. I was ready to give up, but I kept going and I finished him finally. He's ready for Christmas, so I will be selling these guys, and they'll be available to you for purchase on I think I'll put them on the regular site, the cranberrycornstalk.com, and Etsy as well. I think I'll throw them on both just to see since I've never made them before, I don't know how fast they'll sell. I mean, my sewn dolls sell within days, if not the day of, when I post them. So that's pretty exciting. It's just so much work to just turn around another doll. And those of you who make dolls understand, just to turn around another doll that fast is kind of difficult. But especially with all the candles and things like that we sell wholesale here for the shop too, it makes it just kind of strains us. And I'm only one person and I just have a couple of helpers. So it just gets to be a little bit much. But as my granddaughter says, stop talking and just get to the good parts. So that's what, when we watch videos, that's the first thing she says, why do they talk so much? Let's just get to the good parts. So I'm going to do that with you. And I may, like I said, just cut down the video a little bit and release some more of it next time, because it's so big and it's so long. It just depends on the editing and what I'm going to have available for you, but I'll try not to make it long and super long and boring. So guys, thanks for stopping at the Cranberry Cornstalk YouTube channel. Make sure you like it and share it with those who like dolls. Let's get the video views up so that I can continue to make doll videos for you. And if they don't go up, I'll go back to some candles and things like that and occasionally pop in a doll. But this was a lot of fun. I think if you guys try your hand at it, you will be addicted like I am. Like, I couldn't do anything else. It took over my mind and my thoughts all day long. I did work this doll with, and these two dolls with natural clay, earthen clay. So it's the red kind. I used the red clay just because I like that primitive darker look, a little bit grungy, so that's what we went with. And he ends up getting painted mostly anyway, but I just love the look of the clay. And like I said, I'm no expert. I've never been taught in any way about clay molding or anything like that. So welcome to your comments and your helpful tips, your kind, helpful tips, and not mean for, not just for me. I don't care so much, but when people get to arguing on comments. So if you want to give your wonderful helping comments, that's great. And tell me where I can do better for the next time, or what works better, some tricks or tips that you have for the rest of us. Okay, guys, if I don't talk to you again, which I want to release another video, but if you know my second job that I do like through the day, all day, it is in delivery and parcel delivery. And so I'll just tell you that I'm about to lose my mind sometimes with the holidays and it being Christmas. But I do have a lot of footage. Hopefully I can break it up into different parts and you can see the full building and creating and putting together of our dolls. I'll try to get one out again next week, but I know I told you a few weeks ago, hope to have one in a week. I just can't commit that much time. But anyway, so that's why I'm not putting out videos weekly like I had been. It's just that time of year in my other job, and it's just insane busy. So if you work in parcel delivery or anything to do with package delivery, you can understand the holidays just kind of take over your life. But thank you for stopping at the Cranberry Cornstalk YouTube channel. Let's get started. So guys, at this point, I was just scared. But I'll tell you this, just trust the process. No matter what I did, it was a scary step here. Okay guys, so I did form the head as shown in the picture. I just squished I basically just made a ball, squished all the clay around till it looked like a face. That's what I did. And I stuck it on the top of this armature wire. You can see I made two of them so I could show you what it looked like originally. But I started this really late at night and the lighting was horrible. And the video that I took, I couldn't show you. It was just really bad and dark. So this is a kind of armature. I just twisted a wire around, aluminum wire, and formed the head, and then I formed the body. And you can see I was horrified to come back 24 hours later and see the body all crackled, and every time I tried to touch it and everywhere I picked it up, it would crumble. So I think I just made the clay too thin. I put it on the body too thin. So what I did was I took more clay and just made another layer over top of it after starting to try to fix the cracks. With water and clay, it wasn't working. So I came back and ended up covering the whole entire body with another layer. And that seemed to do the trick. So I'll fast forward so you don't have to watch the whole thing and get bored. I found that if you take pieces of clay, you can smash them into the cracks, but it seemed like the whole thing just needed redone, because when I did that, the pieces that were cracked would fall off of the aluminum. So I did since then discover that if you use anywhere there's the masking tape, the clay sticks. So I found that out after messing. So you can see the top corner completely fell away. So I had to redo all of that. But it does stick to masking tape versus foil. So when you make your body, just coat it with masking tape and it does stick a lot better. It's a little more giving. And just make sure you make it thick enough, the clay thick enough that it doesn't crumble so easily like this. That's the things I discovered here. And here I just couldn't stand the mess. I just decided I was going to clean it up a little bit and I started putting my foil, because they say you can reclaim your foil or reclaim your clay. And I tried to save it all and put it in this foil, but I didn't know it had a leak in the bottom. So when I went to shut it, yeah, I squirted. Oh, what a mess. I'm telling you, you can see I'm such an amateur. So everything I did just seemed to be, it just wasn't working. I was terrible at this. But now that I've done it, um, I know, what to do differently, but that's one thing. I can't stand to work in a messy surface, so I do have to keep cleaning it up. I was afraid the crumbles would get stuck in my new clay. So at this point, I just continued to cover the entire crumbling clay with another layer. And then I thought, I was trying to think of cement and how it dries. So I thought if I could lay down cement, you know how they always put like a place for it to crack. So I thought if I made kind of a chest look and maybe give them a type of 6-pack or something, and pecs, maybe if it cracked again, it would crack right where I scored the clay. So that was my plan. So I decided while that armature was drying, the second layer, because it was pretty thick, I would make another one, knowing what I know now, and just coating it with masking tape. And that was what I needed to do the first time. I should probably tell you that if you do get into making clay, take your rings off, because, or jewelry, it gets into every little cracking cranny that it can, and it gets really hard. And some of it you can get off, and then other places it takes a while. So this is kind of what it looked like. This is what the clay ball looks like. And when you first take it out of the package, some people that I watched say to knead it because there's air in it, and others said it's fine just to start using. I don't know. I've never done it before, so I decided to play it safe. And when I do take it out of the clay ball, I do knead it, because it cracked so bad on me the first time. I didn't know if this was normal or not. But as time goes by and we make more videos on air dry clay, we'll find out. I had bought a sculpting kit. I think I got it at Michael's. So this came with it, and is pretty handy to cut chunks of clay off without ruining, getting the clay under my nails and getting it stuck under there. So that was kind of nice. I mean, when you're a kid, you like just dig in and, grab a chunk, but I do have my nails done, and I didn't want to have it all stuck underneath my nails. So that wire and 2 little pieces of wood that came with the sculpting kit worked beautifully. It just sliced right down through it. I'm just kind of pushing the air out of the masking tape and making sure that I don't have a place where the clay will move and crack again. I don't know if it's going to work, but at this point, but that's what I decided to do here. Because I wanted the clay to all be the same depth, to dry all evenly at the same time, in order to do that, I just took 2 other sculpting brushes and laid them down side by side and rolled over top of them. That way it kept my roller the exact distance I need off the table to make the clay the same depth the whole way across. It was just made a little bit easier. So that's what you see here. I just kept building up the clay around where the masking tape was, and to form the body. in the same depth of layer, so that when it dried, I was hoping that it would turn out better than the first time around. And actually, you'll see that it did. And I also found that your fingers seem to work the best. They've got all these tools, and of course I have them all because I'm new at this and I didn't know what I needed. But honestly, my fingers, when they were warm, seemed to smear the clay the best, more than any of the tools. Now, sometimes the other tools do come in handy, but when you just take your thumb or your finger and just rub the clay and smash it into the other layers, it's a nice smooth transition. And I really am leaning toward the idea that it's the warmth of your hand that makes the clay so nice and smooth. And I just kept adding pieces. I'd just roll out the same depth constantly, and just like a puzzle, put a new layer, not on top of each other, but just onto the masking tape part. And I really only needed the body and the head. I had to make a face yet, and I wanted hands and feet like I did the first one, which I didn't get to show you because I lost that footage. But I just needed to make hands and feet, and then later on I decided that I was going to make, of course, some boots out of the clay. I had bought fabric to make like leather boots, but I really just I got kind of excited and addicted to make boots out of clay just to see what I could do with them. So I continued to add like puzzle pieces of clay to the armature and keep forming him, and he actually turned out way better than the first one. So don't get discouraged if you build one and it's not quite what you wanted. You know, just keep trying. For me, it took my second one until I was even happy with it. And I did want to leave my arms and legs open, like the wire parts, in case I wanted to bend and make the sculpture hold, I don't know, a toy bag or a bear or, you know, a rocking horse, something more primitive that I could add to my sculpture. I wanted to make them be able to be flexible or to possibly move them around. And that's what I did. We'll see how it turns out. But I left the arm parts and the leg parts open, and I will eventually form the hands and feet for my sculpture. And I still had to make the face. I don't know if I'm going to get it to fit in this series of clips or not. I'm sort of running into, I'm already at 20 minutes, but I'll keep trying and adding pieces of the video. And if not, you guys stay tuned for next week and I'll add the next part. Now, because I already have the footage done, I can promise you it'll be uploaded next week. Or before, I didn't have any clue how long it'd take me to make these things, or how much time to give it. And it'll be after Christmas as well. So my second job won't get in my way as far as time goes. But so that's how I did this. You can see I just keep using my hands and adding the pieces that are still exposed with masking tape with another layer that's the same depth all the way around. And it really worked out well, guys. This is where you need to maybe start at, not like I did my first armature. But the head on this one was a little bit bigger than I wanted it to. So keep in mind when you build your head, or even whatever parts you're making, that you keep them smaller than what you want the finished product to be. I mean, I know it's common sense, but retrospectively, I look back and think, oh my gosh, the head's bigger than but I didn't think about it at the time when I was just adding the clay. So then, in order to make the face, you just want to divide the circle part in half, and that's supposed to be the bottom of your eyes. Divide the bottom part in half again, and that's the bottom of your mouth. And what I did is I just pinched the center between the two to make the nose. And then I just formed, you can see here, I just kind of formed myself a little face. You got to figure, 3D and parts of, if you're doubting your abilities, just look at someone's face and just try to replicate that onto the clay balls. But to make the nose, I just kind of took a little tiny piece and made a teardrop out of it, and I rounded it so it'd be nice and smooth, and I pinched it into place. And this clay does stick really well. I didn't have to add any water or score it or anything like that to make the nose. It just stuck to it because it was still wet. And you can see here I'm just forming the nose, trying even a generalized nose. Now, I had a lot of people asking me, who are you going to make the face after? I really didn't have anybody in mind. Of course, you always think your dad when you think of Santa Claus. And I did kind of start with an idea of my father because his nose is an Indian nose. So I wanted to have, he has like a little dimple on the end of his nose. So I did manage to get that in there, but the rest of it I can't say. Looks like my dad at all. But who knows, the end product, I might think so. But I did end up getting the nose to look like my dad's. But other than that, no, I can't say it looks like anybody I know. It just kind of became its own little creation. Okay, so if you made it this far, thank you very much for sticking with me. I am just demonstrating how I was working with the nose to make sure it was going to stay on, because I don't know the process. But I did get the nose formed, and I found that the handle of the brush seemed to really smooth out, the bumpy parts. So I was using it to help sculpt my face. And I found another tool that came with the kit from Michael's. It was like a flattening tool, and it kind of helped getting in those little places. I have really big fingers, so for me to reach my fat finger into the eye socket and try to smooth it out would have been a disaster. I would have made a crater. So I did find this little tool helpful to help me smooth out the eyes and to make it like sort of like an eye socket. But since then, I've seen where other sculptors will put extra clay on the forehead so that it sticks out more and even looks more realistic. You learn something new every day, so that's something else you might want to try. Just use whatever you have. I mean, I think of all kinds of kitchen tools that you could use, a popsicle stick, or, I mean, there's a million different things you can use to, as a tool to accomplish what you want on your clay. But these are just the things I tried, and these are the results that I got. So I tried adding the clay to the parts of the face that would protrude a little further, and it did really make a difference in the way the face looked when it was finished. It helped me to not try to push the clay back so much, but to build it out. So that is really effective, to add little balls of clay here and there that I know, like your cheekbones or your forehead, that protrude from your face. Instead of trying to push everything back, I decided to build things out. And what a difference it really, really did help when I sculpted. So that's another thing I found. Hopefully that helps you too. So my initial thoughts going into this were, I don't want it to look really modern and finished. I still wanted to have that primitive handmade look. And I was so worried about making it smooth, too smooth, that it wouldn't look hand done. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the paper pulp and how it's all rough and it just looks primitive. And so I was worried when I started this process that it would be too perfect and factory, like porcelain, or like like some kind of a poured porcelain. But believe me, there is no way that the sculptures that I made would look, I mean, after doing this, I don't know what, I guess more practice it would take to make them look really finished, but rest assured, my sculptures, when they were done, they still look handmade, and there was no worries with having them look manufactured at all. So that part, even though it wasn't intentional, stayed true to the intention of the project. Now, I was concentrated on the first armature that I made with being sure there were wrinkles on the doll face. But I think with just all the texture of the clay itself, it's not real smooth. So I think the youthfulness is gone, at least for the way I made them or finished them. So it still looked aged, like the face would have had some wrinkles in it and stuff. So I didn't worry too much about that anymore. It seemed like it was fine, and it certainly didn't look youthful by the time I was done. I thought I'd try making some actual eyeballs and putting them in with lids, and top lids and bottom lids, and it seemed like it was okay. It didn't do any major difference. I didn't think I noticed a big difference between the first one, where I just kind of formed the eyes, but this one I made balls and lids. So it wasn't a major impact by trying that, but I just wanted to give it a try and see what the differences would be. Okay, so after that was done and I let it dry 24 hours, here's what I came back to. The last armature I showed you, I did put some indentations, making a chest and biceps and all that, and it did seem to work, but this one I kind of forgot to do that. But I noticed since I did uniformly layer the clay on, you know, a little bit thicker, and I put it on in bigger pieces, it didn't crack as much, and it seemed like I could manage it with just making some slip. So I put some clay in a little cup and then stirred it up with some water and found some slip, and it did seem to do the trick. I didn't have to do a whole lot of like a total resurfacing at this point, but it still really, really cracks. And I was researching a little bit, and they were saying, other sculptors were saying that if you maybe put your project in a plastic bag or cover it with just a little bit of air to go through, it won't crack so bad. And when I'm moving forward, I did do that with the feet and the other parts of the sculpture that I did, and it didn't crack as bad. I'm learning, so that was another thing. I did put it on in one layer and all the same thickness, but it did crack. Not near as bad as the first time, so we are definitely on the right road to success, I hope. And I just made some slip, and then I filled in all the cracks and smoothed them over with a little bit of water. And I also read somewhere that you shouldn't add a whole ton of water. So I was trying to be real minimal with the water addition. I don't know if it makes it crack even more. I'm not quite sure, but here's how I remedied the cracks the second time in the second sculpture. And yeah, I'll leave you with that. Now, guys, I am running out of time. The video is already at, well, I think the end of it ends up being around 30 minutes, and I'm so afraid you're going to get bored. So those of you who love dolls and always want me to make dolls, please watch it to the end and tell everybody else to watch it multiple times, whatever. But give me the views I need to make another one if you want to see them. I know this is something new, and I didn't do a whole lot of sewing in this video, but coming up to make the clothes on this Santa Claus, I did do some sewing and some crafty type stuff that you guys all like. So don't give up on me if you don't like sculpting or you don't think you're going to try your hand. Just watch it to the end, and the next video clips I will come out. And like I said, I already have the footage, so it's not like I have to build the footage. So I should be able to get out fairly quickly. So yeah, I'm running out of time, and it's up to 30-minute video already. So, and I've fast forwarded every clip that I have so that you don't get super bored watching. But let me know what you think of this clay sculpting that we started here. Is it something you're going to try your hand at? Is it something that you may be interested in? I don't know. I can tell you this much, since I've already posted the dolls, they're sold. So I know the people seem to like them. And I know you can do this. It's not super difficult. I made it probably look worse than it really is. I am learning. So do your research. Follow through with the things I've taught you, and anything else you can add to help our listeners and our viewers on this channel to do better so that they can make their own Santa Clauses. Or, well, actually, by the time this video goes up, it'll be Easter bunnies or cupids or something else that they want to sculpt into something. Remember, guys, even if you just want to try a little bit between now and Christmas, you can make ornaments. Coming up, you can make hearts for your Valentine tree. Those are some ideas for you. And again, I am so tickled that it does look real rough, that it's, you know, kind of lumpy and grumpy, and I just wanted it to look really prim and handmade. So we accomplished that. Thanks for watching the video. I don't know if I'm going to talk anymore on this video. I think there's nothing super exciting to share that you need me to voice over. So I think I'll just let it play out, and make sure you like it. Make sure you share with your friends who want to make a doll. I'm going to go ahead and post the end product so you don't give up on me. I'm going to go ahead and post the end product, the finished product, at the end of the video. So keep watching until you see how our Santa Claus ended up, and I think you'll like it. So like, share, subscribe. You know how it all works. And comment on the video. That'd be awesome. I really appreciate it. And if I don't talk to you all, I should be able to have a video out within a week. If I don't talk to you, have a wonderful Merry Christmas.